Ireland squad for the 2021 Six Nations. Andy Farrell has named his team. 36 guys in all. I've had a quick look through the squad now. It's another one of those ones where you look at the squad and go, there's a 35-year-old here, 33-year-old there, but also rewards for some of the guys who are, really coming through, like with some pretty big raps on them. 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, and so it's a bit of an interesting mix. He hasn't gone for a full cull, which I guess is to be expected, but some of the old hands are still about. So maybe it's just to be expected. I don't know. I'm still kind of torn as to how I feel about the squad. I still have only really just seen it and just having a look through it now. So yeah, I'm not sure how much differently I would have done it, and I'm pretty sure Andy Farrell knows a fair bit about the game more than I do, so we'll leave it with him. But we'll go through the squad quickly. Hookers, Heffernan, Herring, and Kelleher. I think we are still, and I've been saying this for probably a couple of Ireland squad videos now, we're still yet to see the definite replacement for Rory Best. It may be Ronan Kelleher long term. He's 23 years old. He's been capped 6 times. Heffernan and Herring have kind of been in and out periodically. 29 years old and 30 years old. Long term, I mean, those guys can easily go to another World Cup. I mean, I think Rory Best was well into his 30s by the time he retired. So at hooker, you can definitely keep going for quite some time. Kelleher at 23 would seem to have the highest kind of potential range that he can go to. But also there's harm to be done by throwing guys into the deep end too soon. Some guys that can kind of stunt their development. But we will see. It's like 5 caps, 16 caps, and 6 caps between the three of them, respectively, is not that many. Like, most of these other positions have got at least multiple guys with 20, 30, 40 caps. So, yeah, it's one of the areas where they're a bit lighter. But it'll be interesting to see if anyone can really make that number 2 jersey their own. Props, Tyke Furlong, Healey, Kilcoyne, O'Toole, Porter. I was a little bit surprised to see Tyke Furlong. I know based on reputation, you absolutely pick that guy every day of the week. I think maybe in 2018, I would have even had him as World Player of the Year ahead of Johnny Sexton. I know that's probably blasphemy for some people, but I honestly think if I was picking a World 15 back a few years ago, he probably would have been my first name off the team sheet. He was just legit the best tight head prop in the world. But man, he hasn't played for ages, has he? I know he's just coming back from injury, but it's a big call to bring him back. But I mean, I've seen it before multiple times with experienced top-level international guys. South Africa did it with Eben Etzebeth, who was injured more than... I think he's got more caps for the Springboks than he does for the Super Rugby team he used to play for, the Stormers. Because he would just be able to just be fit and just play at international level. He could just immediately step up. No warm-up time needed. I guess you'd kind of back Tyke Furlong to do the same thing. But we'll see how he goes. Healey is also 33 years old, 104 caps. He's your veteran on the other side of the scrum. He'll do well. Porter, I'm still a fan of his. I think he got shown up in one of the Champions Cup games I saw late last year, but I still back him to do well. O'Toole is your youngster of the squad, uncapped, 22 years old. Definitely one to slowly embed into the squad. If memory serves, he wasn't available the last time Ireland squad was called up because he had an injury. Locks, Tyke Byrne if he's playing lock, Elton Delane, Ian Henderson, Quinn Rue, James Ryan. It's one area you're not really lacking for players is lock in Ireland. I think James Ryan is, not only he's a workhorse, bloody hell, the guy gets through so many carries and tackles every game. He puts other people to shame just in terms of their numbers, but that's his role. He does his role really well. He's only 24 years old. He's already got 32 caps. He's, again, if you're picking an Ireland squad, one of your first names off the team sheet, if not the first. And picking a partner for him, you probably go Henderson, but there's certainly other guys you could have around him. And Tyke Byrne, if he is going to play second row, maybe he'll be on the bench because he can cover multiple positions. He's been in red hot form as well. I love the fact that you got a lock like him who can just get you your turnovers. That's such a valuable skill. Like Brodie Retallick does it really well here in New Zealand when he's playing. He's not on sabbatical. It's a really special skill to have, and not all the big men can do it. But Tyke Byrne specialises in it. Lucy's, you got Will Connors, Doris, O'Mahony, Ruddock, Stander, and not South African Van der Vliet. That's an interesting mix. Ruddock, I think, was he in the squad last time? He's definitely been in good form, and he's probably earned his call up. O'Mahony, I think, is under a bit of an injury cloud because he had a couple of knocks in that last game against Leinster. It's an interesting mix as well because you got 31 years old Mahoney, 30 years old Ruddock, and 30 years old Stander, and then 22-year-old Doris and 24-year-old Connors, with Josh Van der Vliet kind of being in the middle there at 27. So it's kind of your present and your future all in one neat little package, and very different players as well. I know you could put Stander at 6, but if you're choosing for 8 between Doris and Stander, like very different players. Doris has got some pretty bloody silky skills, but he is a bit tall for a number 8. Like, he's taller than the average number 8, I would say. CJ Stander's got more of that typical number 8 build. Like, he's shorter, but he's heavier. So he's a very difficult man to bring down. And when he gets his body low to the ground, he's a very difficult man to stop. So either way is going to be good. Both players have bags of talent. Josh Van der Vliet and his work rate, be good to see him get rewarded with some performances. Connors and his chop tackles has been a bit of a pleasure. I've only really been introduced to him in the last maybe 6 months, but he's been really good to watch and is certainly very good at bringing down some bigger guys. But yeah, either way, kind of sport for choice. It just kind of depends on which way Farrell wants to line up his side and what he's looking for. If he's wanting for line-out disruptions, he'll start Omani. If he's looking for weight and ability to get over the gain line, you certainly got Stander there, and so on. Into the backs, there's reward for Craig Casey. He is uncapped and he be in the squad. He's 21 years old. Haven't seen a whole lot of him, but from what I've seen of him, he looks really sharp. Really sharp. Young scrum half. They've also got the experienced Conor Murray and Jamison Gibson Park in there as well. Gibson Park's kind of an interesting one. I'm kind of torn about him. Like, obviously I haven't seen as much of him as you guys who watch Leinster week in and week out have. Like, I remember him playing for the Blues back here in New Zealand. He's good. Is he international? I mean, he's keeping out guys like Cooney and Luke McGrath and Kieran Mami. I don't know if Mamian's injured or not, but I don't know. I'm certainly glad to see Craig Casey there. You got your experienced guy in Conor Murray. There's still question marks about whether he is back to his best yet or not. 31 years old. Certainly going to be good to see Craig Casey getting some minutes. Let's just put it that way. But it's another area where you just stocked. Every team has got either 1 or 2 top-class number 9s. 10, you got Billy Burns, Ross Byrne, and Jonathan Sexton. Sexton is your man that I mentioned is 35. He's still captain. I'm not sure how Irish fans feel about him. I mean, I know he's the legend. He's former World Player of the Year, led you guys to glory, clutch moment player numerous times. But even I start to question him sometimes. And I'll be honest, I did the same thing with Richie McCaw and Dan Carter when they were a similar age, man. Like, I was questioning their selection with the All Blacks at times. And, you know, come the 2015 World Cup, they showed all of us doubters the middle finger and put in world-class performances. There's no reason why you can't. People do the same thing to Alan Wynne-Jones as well. Once you start to, you know, get into your mid-30s, people definitely put you under the microscope a bit more. But he's had his injury worries and don't know. Ross Byrne is still probably yet to hit his full straps at international level. Probably still question marks about him. Billy Burns of the 3 is actually the one I'm kind of most excited to see. I remember him in the Autumn Nations Cup coming on and just really setting things alight. But, you know, 26 years old, he's still got room to grow as well at international level. No room for Jack Carty. It's one of those things. Midfielders, Aki, Farrell, Henshaw, McCloskey, and Ringrose. That's going to be another one where I'm curious to see what kind of team Andy Farrell picks. Does he go the big boys like McCloskey, 111 kilos, 1.93? It's almost the size of some short locks. You know, Farrell's not much smaller, a bit shorter and slightly lighter, only 1 kilo lighter, but man, he's a big unit as well. Or does he go the smaller guys like Ringrose and like Aki, but certainly got bags of skill? Aki's got a wee bit of power in him as well, and Ringrose, as somebody mentioned, is both stronger and faster than he looks. I don't know, I'm a big fan of Ringrose, but I'm also a fan of McCloskey, so I don't know, you can't really go wrong. it's probably just a matter of which is your starting two and who's your third guy, who your rotation guys. I'm still not quite sure that question's been answered. Outside backs, Conway, Earls, Lama, Keenan, Lowe, and Daly. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time at all, you know I'm a big fan of Andrew Conway. I think he is the picture of being underrated. 24 caps, 29 years old. Another guy who's faster than he looks, runs better lines than he looks, and has very good positioning play. I very much like him. Earls is your veteran there at 33. The fullback question, is Shane Daly the answer? I'm not sure. I think since our man Rob Carney left, you may be lacking a little bit of that kind of safety net back in the 15 jersey. Lama is good, but he's a different style player. And watching him at Leinster the other day against Munster under the high ball, under pressure, he's not the most secure pair of hands. And you know teams like England are going to kick it to you all day long. So, yeah, but I'm certainly not doubting his talent. Ball in hand, he's one of the hardest men to stop. Stockdale, I note, is injured. But, yeah, man, overall, pretty happy with the squad. Average age of the forwards, 27.5. Average age of the backs, not much less, but similar. 17 from Leinster, 10 from Munster, 5 from Ulster, and 4 from Connacht. So it's a very Leinster-dominated team. But yeah, they're a team chock full of talent. So, yeah, who else has been hard done by? Do you think any of these guys are lucky to be in? Do you think Tyke Furlong can do, like I said, and just kind of step up immediately at international level? Or do you think he needs to be kind of slowly brought back into the fold? But anyway, yeah, we'll see how things go. Are any of you guys on that bandwagon of Andy Farrell just needs to swing the axe, cut like the old guard kind of guys and just unleash some of that young Irish talent? Or do you think he does need to kind of slowly transition away from some of the guys as he builds to a World Cup in a couple of years? Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Talk to you again soon. See you later.